So I'm really pleased today to introduce Dennis Sartorello. You can find his full bio in our program. He's Chief Designer, Global Strategic Design at Ford Motor Company, and he's responsible for leading an advanced interior team working on a combination of strategic and pre-programmed projects at Ford. So please welcome Dennis Sartorello.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. Thanks for the intro. What an exciting period to be in interior design. Being invited here to talk to you guys about the future of interiors really got me thinking about what's shaping them. Got asking myself a few questions. Is it the advancement in new energy propulsion systems? Or perhaps the rapid advancement in cameras, sensors, and mapping? I also started thinking about the explosion in HMI technology, digital connectivity. Whilst these are all definitely shaping the way interiors are being designed, there was one thing that held true for me for all of them. It was people. Please meet some fascinating Ford customers we spoke to late last year in Europe. It's people's goals, context, actions that are shaping the future of interiors. What an exciting period to be in with our customers. More than ever before, I'm seeing how the world, people's needs, and how they're doing things is shaping their ideas of what it means to be mobile. We call this human-centered design. What is it? My team, along with other partners of Ford, are on this amazing journey to break down the way we represent the customer in our process and seeking new ways to create more intimacy, empathy with the people we love to serve at Ford. Some say they do it, others say they're doing it. Today, I wanted to open up a discourse on how we've been trying to do it in advanced interiors at Ford Motor Company. I want to take you on a small little journey that my team has been on over the past 5 to 6 years to put the user at the center of our interior design process. There are a few things this journey has sort of brought to light for us. When did we reduce people to a 2D line drawing? Our team have been trying every day to free Oscar. We've been trying to breathe life back into him, trying to bring the emotions, expressions, new activities that people are doing on the road, and trying to help us see this a little bit better. When did we reduce people's lives to a 2D linear task analysis? We've also been trying to rework this and starting to find new non-linear ways to represent people's emotional, discovery, routine, and messy lives more accurately. When did we start planning our entire portfolio around 2D line drawings or side views? You should have seen what happened when we proposed this as an alternative. And finally, probably the hardest one to look at as an interior designer is when did we reduce people's interior experience to a 2D static drawing? And we've definitely been trying to work out ways to put this on steroids as well, but it still gets us asking, is this really the right way? While these things have helped us move forward as interiors designers, it's not actually what's bringing us closer to the customer. It's how we're working on a day-to-day basis that's making us better. Today, I wanted to give you a bit more of a look of what it looks like to be working in my team under David Woodhouse on advanced interiors. We're dropping our styluses and opening our doors to new inspiration in an attempt to start unwrapping the creative design process so we can rebuild it around people. So I want to bring you through 5 things that I think we're doing on a day-to-day basis to try and help us become better. The first thing is looking for clues everywhere, using customers for inspiration. You've probably all seen slides like this in ethnography reports. I think what we've really been trying to do is trying to take it on our shoulders to turn what we're seeing out there into the real world, into inspiration for our designers to work on. Sometimes these slides just don't resonate, and how do we really turn it into something inspirational? This has demanded us to really start looking at these things in new ways. We don't go to customers for answers, we go to them for inspiration. And how do we then turn that into something that really engages a whole community of people to design around? We've also got really challenging things that we see out there. How do we redraw this scenario to inject the new emotions that we're really wanting to deliver when it comes to creating teaching moments with trucks? The other thing is, how do we inspire teens to move on and not give them the illusion that we're looking for an additional feature to add to our interior design? And we're also trying to be mini anthropologists ourselves, always out there looking at what people are doing, and sometimes it has nothing to do with function. Fluffy bits, anyone? It's about this point, probably file all our customer information and research, and we kind of default back to our own practices. And that's kind of fair, because our process demands us to go from all these insights to solutions really quickly. What we're trying to do is take these primary research events and try things out for ourselves, get out from our desks and immerse ourselves to truly understand. My team's really working hard to get out there and create more empathy with products they're not familiar with. They're trying to translate what the customer has done and what they're seeing out there and the hacks in the world, and then really designing on the fly. We're spending endless amount of time in our products and trying to reimagine what does that new scenario really do for people. And then we're breaking things ourselves, much like we see the customers doing in the real world. We're taking whatever we have and we're going out there and breaking those spaces again and then redrawing on the fly. And then sometimes we sort of hack our interiors and we pipe things out through under the engine and we rewire things. And we learn things and learn that we have to start making new tools to help us make new things. And another fun exercise that we're doing is always comparing what's happening in and outside of the car and trying to understand, why are they so different, or why are they the same? The third thing we're doing is trying to live the future we're building every day, and we're doing that through play. We're trying to turn our studio into a playground to camp out in whilst evolving our designs and bringing people in to do that with us. We're trying to move away from the studio being this museum where you just go stand there and look at something and then walk away. We're trying to find new ways of, new cost-effective ways of turning every single review we have into an activity for our leadership, for ourselves as designers, and really trying to see what sort of emotions and actions people are doing. We're then also really camping out in our products that exist to make sure we understand exactly what people are getting today. And then we're breaking it as quickly as possible and taking those models and just hacking away at them to make sure that we can understand those 3D experiences that we're intending to deliver. We're dabbling in interaction design because it's such an important part of an interior experience, and fumbling and working with our partners to understand how do we bring these two things closer together. And we're role-playing all the time, trying to capture that expression, that emotion that we really want to deliver. And we're making all this design work that we're doing on the fly whilst out there in the world visible, as no matter how messy it is, so that we can make sure we can bring anyone along the journey with us, no matter at what point in the process we're at. And the other things we're doing is making sure that we're ready to break our designs no matter where we're at in the process, which is really scary, and trying not to fall in love too quickly. And another thing that we're really, really struggling with is how to get dynamic really quickly. Here's a really bad experiment on how to look at driver assist technology and dynamics on the fly without any money. The fourth thing we're doing is, as interior designers, we're really bad at getting out there and talking to customers. So we're trying to discipline ourselves to share and listen more than we ever have before. And what we're really learning is that being creative with customers is just as important as being creative with our sketch work, and trying to do that as early and often as possible. Some of you are probably already very familiar with this, but we learned very quickly that you can get about 5 minutes of average conversation with something like this, but you can get about 30 minutes of really interesting conversation with something like this. We're also building things to really break and watch and see what customers are doing. We're not building it because we love the design yet, but really building it to watch what are our designs and what are they doing to people, and how is it changing their behaviors or reactions or emotions. And another part that we're really learning is, again, putting just as much energy with our research teams and partners to be creative in this process, because once you do that, customers will really be your guide through this. And it's about this, at this point, where you realize that you've fallen in love with this customer. And this is a really critical point in the process, because once you experience this, you'll never forget who you're designing for. Here's another good example. I think typically when we go out, we spend so much time getting a list of questions ready for the customer. Here, we learned how good customers are at role-playing. We basically put them in a scenario and we curated it for them, and we left them for 30 minutes alone, and we learned so many interesting things. And then what we really try and do is make sure that we come back, not with words, but with videos, really inspirational content that really gets people wanting to solve these problems. And we also want to make sure that we really listen, talk like the customer. We want to stop going out there, listening to what they say, and then translating it back into industry terms, because it's easy. And it's not also always lo-fi. We've worked at creating self-exploration sort of research events, where we've just put people in these things and not asked them a question. So many variables here. What do you look for? Is it music? Is it light? Is it pixels? Is it shape? And I think what we were really trying to do here was watch for that emotion, that smile, and then try and work back from that and say, why did this happen? The last one that we've been working on that we're really, really struggling with is systems think. It's really hard to apply HCD to a single interior, let alone a whole portfolio of interiors. How do we think beyond standalone products and balance for a consistent system and protect for that unique user? We're taking another look ourselves at how our system proliferates and sort of wondering, would we have made this if we had looked at it as a whole versus small parts and pieces? Here's us trying to work out ways of looking at that system and protecting that system for our customers. We're trying to work across many customers, many platforms, many spaces, and trying to see how far can we stretch that one system. And the interesting thing is what that's doing to our design team. We've got a very small team who's trying to strike broad and deep at the exact same time, protecting their unique user, their unique product, and then also protecting the system at the same time. Something a little less abstract is, how do we take these pieces? We continue to make the same things over and over again, and how do we make parts that flex a little bit more and give different experiences, but perhaps don't need to be necessarily that different. And asking ourselves all the time, what is a system? Is it a bunch of parts? Is it a portfolio offering? Is it a set of services? But if there is one thing we know and that we're trying to work towards, is that ultimately we want to put that system in the hands of the customer. So these are 5 things that sound quite simple and quite frankly is nothing new to human-centered design from a practice and framework perspective. But what's different is how we're doing it in interior design. It takes a lot of discipline, a lot of energy, a lot of effort to keep on doing this every single day you walk in the office. What's new is how we've been using this as a source of inspiration to change our discipline and the culture that it's starting to create. It's also my team that's constantly helping me to course correct and basically producing everything you see there. And it's the amazing people, and there's many of you guys out there in the crowd that are in or out of this industry that are on the same journey as we are and helping us to shape this. So this is what we're doing. It's helping us make new things, and people seem to be responding well. Would be great to compare some notes so we can advance the practice of interior design together. Thanks.